Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to new lecture about JavaScript conditionals. Now, this is a very important lecture and make sure that you understand all of these conditions here. If you don't, just rewatch the lecture because this is the fundamental part of JavaScript. So we're going to start with if statements, then we're going to go to else, then we're going to check what if else means, switch statements, ternary operator, and logical operators. This means and, or, and the last one, the exclamation mark, means not. Okay, we don't have time to waste. We have a lot of things. I've created JavaScript lecture 4, and I linked it here just to not waste time. Okay, so write a comment here that we are going to do. Let's put it in. Wasn't working. My caps lock wasn't working for some reason. So JavaScript conditional operators, and we're gonna say and logical operators. Very good. Now make here multi-line comment. Sorry. And here what I'm gonna write is JavaScript conditionals, and I'm gonna rewrite each and every of them. If, else if, switch, and ternary operator. Very good. Now here I will write about logical operators. Yep. Now here we will have and, or, double pipe, and the last one is not, exclamation mark. Okay, that is pretty much it what we're gonna cover in this lecture. So let's start working on it. Actually, here we can get rid of this. Doesn't look very nice. Make sure your code looks clean and nice. Okay, so that's what we are going to cover in today's lecture. Let's declare a couple of variables here. Number 1, and that will be 18. Variable number 2, and number 2, let's put it 30. And please don't make a space here. Variable number 3, and that will be value of 16. So we have 3 variables declared and initialized with initial values. Number 1 will hold 18, number 2 will hold 30, and number 3 will hold 16. Okay, the first things first, we need to explain what if condition means. So if you say if condition or if statement, it's pretty much the same. So if statements and conditions means the same thing. Okay, now how we are going to write if statement. So the keyword is if. So this is the keyword. We always need to write if like that, and inside here we need to have these brackets. Okay, without these brackets we don't have condition. So inside these brackets we are putting the condition, and here I'm gonna say number 1 is smaller than number 2, and curly brackets. So make sure that you are following this syntax. So we have if, then we have a bracket, and inside those brackets we do set the condition. And now the condition can be anything, and I just put number 1 to be smaller than number 2, and that is the true. Number 2 is 30, number 1 is 18. So here we can just type console log. We can have a block of code here. We can have anything, but just to be very specific and short and to tell you that how if condition is working, I'm just going to use console log. So don't think that only we can write console log. We can write multiple lines of code here based on our logic, and in future you will see just that. So here I'm going to say number 2 is bigger than number 1. Okay, semicolon there, and let's go back to our browser, and here it is. Number 2 is bigger than number 1. that is true, because we're saying if this condition is true, then this block of code needs to be executed. So this is how the if condition if statements or if conditions are working. So whatever the condition we set here, that needs to be true in order to go inside and run this code. So we can have multiple lines of code. For example, we can say var abc equal b to 10, and if I can type it correctly, right? So even I can do console.log that abc. Here it is, 10. So we can have multiple lines of code, but they will be executed only if this condition is met. When I say met, means true. Now, the second part, else. Else statements, they're very important. So how we are writing else statement? Okay, so if number 1 is bigger, now I'm gonna say than number 2. Then what I'm going to say here, I'm gonna change a little bit. Number 1 is bigger than number 2. I'm gonna copy this one. Oops, just make sure that you copy everything. And here I'm putting the else condition. But what's most important for you to understand that we can't have here these brackets and set a new condition here. That is not how it works. So let me just finish this one and I will explain you how it will be executed. This means that number 2 is bigger than number 1. Okay, let's talk about it. Now, we do have the condition here and we're saying number 1, which is 18, to be bigger than 30. This condition will be not true. So it will not go here and execute this block of code. What will happen, it will go straight to the else condition and it will execute this line of code. Let's see if that is gonna work. This means that number 2 is bigger than number 1. Very good. So our logic is pretty much working because we just fix the condition to our own needs. We say, okay, this will be the condition, and if it's not catched here, that means that number 2 is bigger than number 1. So the line of code, so this is how it's usually being described. So block of code will be executed only if this first condition fails. For example, now if I changed back to this one, this here will be executed. Yeah, number 2 is bigger than number 1, right? This will be executed and this will never be executed. So when this condition is true, it will go here and then it will never go in the else. So it will continue here. So let me show you. So it will skip the else condition here outside of if else condition, right? And then here it is, here outside of if else condition. Even if you put it here, you say something here, it's not going to be catched because the first condition, if it's true, it will go here and it will do a job. But let's change it like it was before. So that is pretty much about if and else condition. So let's check else if. Now, remember I told you that here we cannot set a new condition. But with else if, yes, that is possible. So I'm going to copy again this one. And let's change a couple of things. I'm going to leave this as it is. So number 1, but I need to change here. And I will say number 1 is bigger than number 2. Right? Okay. Now what I want here is to have another condition where I'm going to say, make sure that you put the curly brackets there. So inside this condition, I will say number 1 is bigger than number 3, right? And that is true. Number 1 is bigger than number 3 because 18 is always bigger than 16. So this here will be false. This condition will return false and it will skip this one and it will go to the else if condition. Now, why it will go here, not there? Well, because here we have another condition and so the block of code will be executed if condition 1 fails and it's false. So now the condition 2 needs to be checked. Okay, so here I will say console.log and I will write this means number 1 is bigger than number 3. Good. And we need to change the last part, because if that is not true, in our case it is true, here we can say this means number 1 is the smallest of all. Now, here it will go and it will check, it will return false. This condition will never be executed, but it will go here and it will check number 1, it's true, that is bigger than number 3, and it will print this line of code. So it will never go to the else condition. Let's save it, go back. Very nice. So our logic is working, and now you know how to use if, else, else if conditions. So with else if, we can put another condition. For example, you want to check something extra that you haven't checked in the first one, then that's it. So these can be used to find which of the 3 numbers is the smallest, right? So you can write here, this means that number 3 is the smallest of all. And it will be true because number 3 is going to be checked. Number 1 is bigger than number 3. And yeah, but you can have multiple combinations here of if else conditions, right? Okay, now last part. Not actually last part. Let's do another condition called switch. Now we use switch to specify many alternative blocks of code to be executed. So let's write how the if else condition look like in real world, and after that we are just going to type it back. So for the here we do have if, but here in switch we need to use the keyword switch. Now inside we will have expression. Now you know what expression means, and we have case x colon, then code block will go here, then break, let me just write it all semicolon, then case y, and code block, then we have break, and the last one is called default, and it will be code block and break. Nice. So that is pretty much how this is written. So the switch expression is evaluated only once. So this expression can be anything, and you will see, for example, we can put a number here, we can put a condition here if we want inside, for example, 5 is greater than 4, or we can just put anything that we want, and based on that expression it's going to be evaluated once. So the value of this expression is compared to the value of each case, and the value of each case is going to be here. So we need to put our logic there. So if there is a match, for example, if I put x here, and it will find there is an x, and this condition block will be match, and if it's match, then the associate block of code will be executed. But we also need to have a break, because if we find a match, we're just going to break from this switch expression and it will go out here. So it will get out from this entire switch statement. So if there is no match, for example, if I put, for example, I have x and y, if I put z here, it will go through the first one. There is no match. This value, it's not z. This value, it's not y. Y is not z. And it will go to the default. It will run the default block, and that's it. It will get out, and pretty much the switch expression is done. Okay, so that is the basics how this switch works, and this is pretty much the most complicated of all to understand. But when somebody explains to you like this, it's not. So let's create a variable here called day, and this program will find the day of the week. For example, if today is a Sunday, and that is actually today is a Sunday in my place, the day that I'm recording this, so we will find that today, and based on the switch statement, we will find which day of the week is. But if you watch this video on Monday or Tuesday, you will have a different output. So don't worry if you see Sunday with mine, and if you see Monday or Tuesday or any day of the week in your place, right? So that doesn't mean that the code is not working. So var today, and what I'm going to use for the first time is I'm going to use a date function here, and this date gonna get day, so you don't have to worry about this. Now what this basically will tell us, will return, is actual number. So it will be 0 till 6, I believe, right? It will be 0 till 6. So 0 means Sunday, and I will just show you. So today, so this entire method is inbuilt, and we can use it right out of the box, but you don't have to worry about this at this stage. Now here, so today's Sunday, that's why it's gonna give me 0. So 0 is Sunday, 1 is Monday, 2 is Tuesday, 3 Wednesday, 4 Thursday, 5 Friday, and 6 Saturday. Now because I know what are the numbers, I can build the cases. So I can say here, I'm gonna put today. Now let's do the switch. And inside the expression, I can just create this variable. I can just put this variable, and I know that this variable will return a number. Either will be 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 6, doesn't matter. So it will return as a number, so I can build these cases now. So everything will be easy. Now, let's say case 0, and I will say day equal Sunday. Very good. Then we will have the break. Then another case, case 1. So in case today was Monday, it will go here in this case. And when I have a block of code there, I will say day equal to Tuesday, Monday, sorry. And break. Then I'm gonna copy it and paste it. Now, look what I have done here. I just declared the variable day, but I've never initialized to anything. You can do that. It will be rewritten here because you're gonna put a new value there. So I haven't tell you this. For example, let's do it like this. If you put something here, right, and if you console it log, today day, but let me just first comment out this part. Now I have something stored in the day variable, right? But that will change because in the switch statement, I'm declaring a new variable for the day variable. So I'm declaring a new value for the day variable, right? So whatever we have here, it will be overwritten. Okay, now let's do the rest of the blocks. So I'm just gonna copy them. And I knew that it will mess it up a little bit, right? Okay, that's why I don't wanna copy and paste too much. But so 0, 1, it will be 2, this will be 3, and Tuesday, and this will be Wednesday. So you can use anything you want. You can say short Wednesday. Now let's paste this one a couple more times here. So case 0, 1, 2, 3, then this will be 4, this will be 5, 5, and this will be 6, and we are done, ladies and gentlemen. So 4 will be Thursday, and number 5 will be Friday, number 6 will be Saturday, and you can put here default. So if there is some number, but it will not happen. But if you put here manually 7, we are not getting anything 7. So we need to specify a default code block here. So the default statement will say day equal something went wrong and break. That is pretty much it. So what is the last thing we need to do? To console it log the day of the week. Nice. Okay, so let's go through the switch statement one more. So the switch statement, we set the expression here, and this expression, this function will return from 0 until 6. And because of that, we build the cases 0 until 6. And if today is 0, it will go here. It will match this value. So make sure that you're understanding this part. Whatever we put here, if we put high here, we need to have high here as well in order to get in this part. Before, in the past, when I was learning this, well, I was a little bit confused because no one told me. So they just gave us exercises to do, and I was like just confused. Why? How is this working? But now you know. So based on this, the value of this expression, it will be matched in one of these conditions. If not, the default will kick in. Okay, and inside we're setting the day to, before was something, now we're setting to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Okay, save it. Now let's go back here, and it's gonna say Sunday because today is really Sunday. Very good. And I don't need the console.log here. So that is pretty much about the switch statement. The last thing that I want to explain is ternary operator. Now, this is basically pretty much new, but I just want to include it here. So, for the ternary operator, we have something like this. Condition, then we have a question mark, then we have expression, if true, then we have colon here, and expression if false. And this is pretty much confusing, right? So this operator is frequently used as a shortcut of this if statement, if else, right? So we have condition here. We're saying if this condition is true, then do this block of code, else do this block of code. Well, that is pretty much it, but we are going to do in one single line. We're setting the condition first, the question mark. If the condition is true, we'll go to this one, and this column here means if the condition is false, whatever we put here, it will be executed. Well, let's, for example, set some person age to be 26 and check if he can drink beer or juice based on his age. So I'm gonna say var variable my age, and let's put it here 26. You can always practice this with prompt. You can prompt the user for age, and yeah, but today I don't have time to do this. Now I'm gonna say beverage, and here I'm gonna set the condition. Actually, I'm doing this, let me just show you first. So we can do it like this. My age is greater or equal to 26, but it will work with greater only. Just want to be sure. Then the question mark, I can have a beer, and else I will have juice. And that's pretty much it. Now, the output of this, I just want to store it in a variable called beverage. And what will happen? So my age is 26. It will go here, and it will say, okay, here should be 21, right? To always be true. So 26, so I'm saying 26 is bigger or equal to 21. It's bigger, it's not equal, but it's bigger than 21. Because that condition is true, we are going to do this part. And this part is the if condition, right? If that was not true, I will only be allowed to drink juice. So beverage will hold beer, not juice, because this condition is true. And when it's true, we have this expression. Then if we have something else, then we're going to have false condition. Okay, now console.log, the beverage, save it. Here it is. I do have a beer. What will happen if I have 20 years? Now, the if condition is false, and expression if false will be this, after this colon here. And I will have juice because I'm a minor, I can't drink. Now that is called ternary operator, and we usually use this operator as a short version of if-else statement. That is pretty much it. Now last part, we will do logical operators. And we're gonna start with and. Now this is a very, very nice in order you to understand. I'm gonna say var first, first name, and that will be Tom. Tom, and var last name, let me just write this one, Cruz. I hope I spelled his last name correctly. If first name is equal to, oops, this means equal and to Tom, and last name is equal to Cruz. And let me just write this one down and we can just talk it what will happen. Wow, we have a famous, by the way, you can write anything you want here, actor here doing JavaScript. Nice. Okay, else console.log Tom, get back here and start working. Good, in exclamation mark, because we are yelling at him. That's not good, right? We're not like that. We're not yelling to anyone. Okay, now pretty much this may be confusing. So what we did, so we create two variables. First, the one is the first name, it will hold value Tom. The second one is the last name, it will hold value of Cruz, its last name, right? Now what we are doing here, so we are using logical operators in combination with the JavaScript operator. Yeah, we are using in combination with JavaScript conditionals with any of this, right? Now why we are doing this? So when I have this and, means what I have in the first condition needs to be true, and what I have in the second condition needs to be true in order to execute this code of block. So both of these cases here, the first one, the one that I have on the left from the AND operator, needs to be true, right? So that is how it's working. And in our case, our first name is true, Tom, and our last name is true, it's Cruz. So it should go here and say, wow, we have a famous actor. That's pretty much it. Now, if I, for example, say here that the first name should be Tommy and the last name should be Cruz, well, this is not true. The first name holds Tom, and this condition will be false. So I have false and true, and false and true will always get me back false. So it will not go here. It will be catched in the else condition. Tom, get back here and start working. So this is how the AND operator works. Both sides of this sign here needs to be true in order this code of block to be executed. Okay, now I'm gonna copy the same thing again, and let's change this one to OR, and I'm not gonna redeclare them again. All right, that's not a good point. And here change the AND with OR. Now if I do it like that, I will have the same output. Why? Because OR means only one of the condition. Doesn't matter if this or this needs to be true in order this block to be executed. So only one. For example, if I put here Tommy, that is false, but this one is true. So OR means just I need any of this condition to be true in order to get here. And yeah, we do have the same result. So only one scenario is possible to go to the else condition. When this is both of the conditions here we are checking, they're not true. And that will go back there. So Tommy and Cruz, they're not same what we have stored here in this variable. Now, you know the power of, and I'm gonna leave it like this with one mistake here because you need to know. So that is pretty much it. Now I can say here two of the conditions, only one of the condition can be, only one of the conditions needs to be true in order to execute the if block, right? And I'm gonna copy the same thing, and here it's different. Two of the condition, two of the condition needs to be true in order to execute the if block. Cool. And the last one is, just gonna copy this one again, and let's change it. This should be exclamation mark and means not. Okay, so what not does, it's pretty much interesting. So I don't need here two conditions for this one to explain it. And we're gonna do more in future. So don't worry about that. So we're gonna do more in future with not. So you're gonna have more practice. And if you don't understand it right now, you just don't need to freak out. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, now I'm gonna say it like this. And I'm just gonna cut it from here. I'm gonna say exclamation mark. I'm gonna put another pair of brackets, put the condition there. So first name equal to Tom. Let's change this one. And I will say console log, hi Tom. Make sure that hi is capital H. Looks not good, it doesn't look good. And here, who are you? If you're not Tom, then who are you? And question mark, right? So what do you think will happen? Let's go back here. Who are you? Well, let me just copy this one, first name, here, just to explain this one part. So first name, well, first name, it's Tom, and it's equal to Tom. So what is happening? Well, we have this not. And what this operator, logical operator will turn true condition to false and false to true. Now, because I have if here, and this entire thing doesn't matter with the operator, needs to be true in order to get here. But the first part was true, and say the first name is pretty much equal to Tom. The value is Tom. But here I just say negate, make that opposite. So if it's true, make it false. So if this condition is false, then this will never be executed. It will go here. So make sure that you understand this part. If we have here Tommy, now look how bizarre is this. So if we have here Tommy, and this is not true, but here with the not operator, we'll say, yeah, now the false, I will make it true. And if true, then I will do this part. Say, hi, Tom. Right? So make sure that you understand. The not operator will turn anything that we have here to the opposite value. If it's true, it will turn it to false. If it's false, it will turn it to true. And that is pretty much it. We will do much more, and you have exercises. Please do them. So let me just recap what we have done. We have done all of these conditionals, and we have included these logical operators. And yeah, that is pretty much it. For the if to be, this code of block to be executed, this condition should be true, and the keyword is if. Now, when we have else, when this condition is not true, the else kicks in, and the code of block here that we have will be executed. The else if we use else if, we always use in a combination with if. Why? Because this condition, if this condition is not true, it will go to check the second condition that we set, and even if that is not true, it will go to the else. But if it's true, it will print out here. The switch statement requires an expression. Whatever we have here in this expression needs to be founded in the cases. So case X and Y, so needs to be matched, and that's why we did here day, but I'm just gonna delete here. I'm just gonna leave it like day, just like that. Here it is, Sunday. Nice, it's working. Because here we're just declaring the value based on the expression. So if the expression is 0, it will go here 0. And the function here, new date, that get date will always return from 0 till 6. And that is why we can just create this switch statement and find what day of the week we are at the moment. So when you're watching this video, if you're watching on Tuesday, you will have a 2, and yeah, then you will need 2. Probably the output will be Tuesday here. So don't be afraid if you don't see Sunday as me. That's pretty much it for this weekend, and we did the ternary operator. We're gonna do this operator in future. Semicolon here, I did forget that part, and make sure that you're not doing the mistakes that I do. Okay, I will see this one. This was super long, and I'm so sorry about this.